To get a deeper understanding of governments, policies, and societal issues, we are here to present about how laws are important for maintaining such regulation of behavior in an individual. Before getting into the subject, the famous philosopher named Thomas Hobbes, in his book Leviathan, discussed that in the state of nature, man always revolt against the weaker personality. Everywhere, man is at conflict with one another. He tries to motivate to escape this chaotic nature of state by creating a social contract. Thus, through the social contract, he was able to prevent the loss of life and emphasize a strong government and social order, which resulted due to the lack of security and protection. So, a topic of discussion of why laws are significant is mainly to resolve the conflicts, to create a framework of interaction between the society and the governmental institutions, and further to eliminate or prevent the chaos, and finally to create a fair and just environment.
Hello everyone. Today I welcome you all to pay your volume to hear about gender laws. No. It should be highlighted as gender neutral laws because gender neutral laws contradict my presentation style today. So when talking about gender, what do you mean by a gender? A gender could be a range of social, psychological, cultural behavior of being man or woman rather than a biological one. A gender is often defined by a society. So the goal of law is to provide the gender, the fairness and justice. The key outcome is justice is done and it needs to be impartial in nature. The key word of utilizing why gender laws are to be looked at prominence is to ensure that law should be impartial. In moving forward, let's include women. We treat women as a vulnerable section because civilization after civilization, women has been subjected to patriarchal mindset that has been implanted in the society. So this vulnerable section needs legal recourses from abuse, discrimination, exploitation. These are cultivated and the law should be in a position to provide protection from criminal offenses and the family issues. Moving forward, the areas of specific vulnerability relates to mental, social, economical, especially in cases like rape, sexual harassment at workplaces, and also personal rights. In the last quarter of the 20th century, secondary and third feminist movement has been observed raising the issues of laws and gender. These laws should be subjected to intense scrutiny and they are debatable topics in societies across the globe. The women-specific laws were drafted and legalized, namely Immoral Traffic Act of 1956, where the nature, magnitude, trends, and modus operandi of are created to ensure that the law that drafted should be recognizing the intensity of why human trafficking is illegal and it's immoral to a cultured society like India. And also acts such as Dowry Prohibition Act, Preconception Prenatal Diagnosis Test Act, Domestic Violence Act, it should be of given high most priority because under this act it lacked identifying men are also being victimized by the sections that has been drafted under this Domestic Violence Act. And moving forward, we have Sexual Harassment at the Workplace 2013 and also includes child also treated as a vulnerable section. So in light, we observed the provisions related to the child protection of such offences under POCSO Act of 2012. When India has been considered as a law of land guaranteeing the protection of life, personal liberty to all under Article 14, 15, 19, 21, 23, and 24, why such why such instances of the gender specific laws are being cornered on the basis of violating their ideal principles of fairness and justness. Article 13 of the Indian Constitution provided that family and personal laws are not inconsistent and are of derogation to fundamental rights. The answer lies in lacking awareness of laws across all sections of society and also l- legal impediments such as low conviction rates. And also, one legally neglected domain is honor killing. Till now, no specific clause has been drafted, even though it violates the equality principle, discriminatory principle, right to freedom, right to life, and Article 39. Laws are required to ensure safety, equality, and empowerment. When considering women, this equality principle has been legislated by the policymakers and passed out an act, namely Maternity Act, Equal Remuneration Act. And to empower them, the Right to Education Act has been formulated. Schemes such as Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao has created an immense development in transforming the vulnerable section, into an empowered gender. In ensuring this equality principle, the pendulum of gender equality has swung too far in one direction, neglecting the specific needs and concerns of man in pursuit of parity. So, the challenges here are, we notice we laws often overlook that male is also being victimized. The recent example is the misuse of Section 498 of Dowry Prohibition Act. This act is truly said to be a bias against men. Another area where laws often overlook men and treat them as perpetrators is differential treatment of men and women in the matters of child custody. This asymmetry in legal provisions requires societal perception of gender roles and power dynamics. On ending this, I would like to present some landmark case studies where the judiciary took a proactive role and brought onto the table the principles such as fairness and justness. One such would be the Vishaka versus State of Rajasthan case. Under this case, sexual harassment has been prevented at the workplaces if it is in violation of fundamental rights. Guidelines to prevent such sexual harassment at the workplace has been drafted. Another land, Navtesh Johar versus Union of India. In this case, the emphasis has been laid on projecting the principle of equality and equal protection as per the fundamental rights. This has helped LGBT plus Q community and it decriminalized the consensual same-sex relation between adults. Thus, equality and justice has been noticed. Coming at a long run, the state of Maharashtra versus Madhukar Narayan held that the Supreme Court held that gender neutral language be used in legal provisions to avoid perpetuating gender stereotypes and biases. And in case of ensuring the issues that has been raised under secondary and third feminist movements, that is issues regarding to the law and the rights of women, Srivastava versus Chandigarh case reveals that the reproductive rights as an integral right of women and her autonomy and upheld the right to abortion as a fundamental right. Contrastingly, there has also been issues regarding the right of life. The cases that related to the Article 21 were Lata Singh versus State of UP. It states that the Supreme Court upheld that right to choose the life partners. When the laws have been neglecting one legal principle, that is honor killing, the case has been in under Supreme Court's jurisdiction, where the need to combat honor killing and a right to marry according to the free will of a person under Shakti Vahini versus Union of India 2018. Cultural traditions, ignorance of legal, lack of will among the enforcement agencies, judiciary, and intersectionality, that is, interconnected nature of social identities, obstruct the implementation of laws. While arguing about the neutrality of laws, we often ignore the reality of power dimension and strong inequalities. Recently, the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report of 2025 has marked India as slipping it to 131st position among 148 countries. This gender gap index measures gender parity across four dimensions: economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. Among all these parameters, the political empowerment has been lacked, even though Government of India has passed an act regarding representation of women in political sphere. This proves that the statement of looking men also as victimized should be laid apart, because women were the actual sufferers. Not truly, but considering women as and their issues as a political issue is also to be recognized by the state. India should come closer to the idea of granting the principle of dignity, justice, and human rights. I look forward to present this version of gender-specific related laws and brief in the coming sessions. Thank you all for paying your attention. Have a nice day.